Ali, what's happening? Should I sit or should I stand? What works? Alright, love. Appreciate it. You all get to know I am, even though I'm a what they call like music exec, I'm very chill, not super professional. Just like to have a conversation. I had this presentation which I was gonna do like stand up and pointers and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's best to just like talk through it. So a bit about me is I used to like work at SoundCloud. I left there about 4 weeks ago. Now I'm going to a company called Ticketmaster. But in my career, I've worked at different kind of music companies, whether it be record labels, EMI, or Warner Music, live music companies, Live Nation, and now Ticketmaster, or like even talent development partners, like for like youth organisations. So across that, artist development has been like basically the linchpin of everything I've been involved in, everything I do, whether it's like working with super early artists, like just straight out from school, like even in school, like how they like put out their first releases to big artists, big campaigns, whether it be like music releases, whether it be tours and shows, things of that nature. So that's what I've really been about. So yeah, I'm excited to speak with you all like for the next 40 minutes or so, just talking about like artist development. I could talk about like the biggest tips and tricks about what some of the biggest artists in the world do and what have you, but I think it's more important to like for me to just get a gauge on like where everyone's at kind of thing. Like it's probably a bit naff to do like the raise your hands thing, but it's probably the easiest way to do it. How many of you are actively releasing music? Like, all right, cool. And would you have you, for those who are actively releasing music, have you released more than an EP, like say 5 songs?
Yeah, I've released like over 100.
Over 100 songs, sick. Dope. And so, alright, cool. And those who didn't put their hands up, just quick, like where would you say you're at in your career right now?
I'd say for me, I'm just kind of experimenting, finding my sound. I'm not sure whether to release or get it more polished, so that's where I'm at really at the minute.
That's very much the same for me as well. In the early stages, a lot of written material, nothing that's really been put through the process of getting it to something that is in the releasable state. So that is the next step.
Sick. I'm gonna come back to that. Because some things I can say in regards to that can be applicable to everyone. You release 100 plus songs. Is it via a label, independent? What's your situation?
I have my own label, like I do release under a label name, but I'm the owner of the label. I've released like 6 albums.
And is that via like what kind of distributor do you use? What's the interesting? Sick. How about you, mate? What's it?
So I released a couple of singles. I've said about like eight singles. I got one coming out on Wednesday actually with a video.
Sick. And are you independent?
I am, yeah. I distribute through Ditto.
Interesting. Ditto, they're good people over there. I use Ditto as well for some other bits and pieces. Cool. That's so you guys super interesting because you can speak to like there's a notion in regards to how polished music should be and so on and so forth before you release it. I'm of the opinion like you need to like, especially now, like the title, what I name this thing, in the digital age or whatever, like in order to like build an audience, artists and fans want to hear not only the polished stuff, they just want you've just got to start releasing music, and in that process you can learn from the consumers, learn from the listeners what actually works, what they like from you, so on and so forth. Sitting on, like, some people call it like the hard drive's like a grave in it. Like if it's not out, there's nothing you can do with it. And polishing it is like, it's at this early stage, what it's probably like mixed and mastered, just get it out there kind of thing. And then from that you can get feedback and then ascertain like, okay, these are kind of music are sick. You got questions? That's another thing. If you just got like hands up anything, like, as I mentioned, I've worked at all these different companies. I've got all this, like, to ask me anything. I actually just prefer questions as opposed to just like, so if you've got anything you want to ask me, like how you should approach something, I'll most likely have an answer for you. Go on.
So as a brand, as an artist, it's very detriment to having this unpolished stuff sitting alongside the stuff that you are eventually going to release. that is more polished, or would you say that there's any benefit to having that sort of separated into separate brands of yourself?
No, that's a dope question. The reason I'm half smirking to myself because, like, in my when I was at SoundCloud, I used to do like artist visits like a lot and sit with like artists, whether they're independent or major label artists, and we'll talk to them about how you've got your like your official releases, your major release, what have you. But in this day and age, like fans want to like they want. Not only do they want more, they want to like they're excited about hearing like a demo version. They're excited about hearing like an unfinished or like an idea. And alongside, let's say you use like a SoundCloud, or you have like a private group, whether that's on Discord, your Instagram broadcast channel, or there's multiple different ways how you can generate that community. Because one, that's another thing that we can touch on later on. But like community is super important, especially in this time. Like you can speak to the masses, but it's more important to build like a community, like even if it's a small group that can grow over time. But back to your question, it's great to have like ideas or demos alongside like the official releases. Just find the medium, just find the platform where it can sit and look well, like not to be like a flipping an ad for SoundCloud, but that's a platform which it works super well on, and you've got artists of all sizes like using it for like demos, snippets, and they get like great success, and it continues to build momentum. There was someone else who had you had your hand up. Yeah.
Yes, all right. Good morning. So if we, for example, were doing EDM or dance music or that genre, and we're competing against David Guetta and Calvin Harris with the sound, if we come up with something that sounds less than that, isn't it potentially going to be detrimental to our to the people who listen to it? Because if they're used to hearing something at this level and then you come in down here, how will you compete with that big sound of theirs?
I'll be honest with you, yeah. Big love to David Guetta and them, man. But like, I was just trying to say, because I just remembered this being filmed. but nowadays, like, not like people care. There's an audience for that, but there's a growing community. There's a growing fan base, a large fan base for emerging artists. They don't care about what them like. Oh, cool! Like that sound is like super polished. It sound like you're not competing with them really and truly, because they're gone. Like you're just trying to get your sound out where it's authentic and true to you, and you can gain fans. Like, don't think about gaining fans on, oh, like it's got to sound like David Guetta and like da 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 da. Like you're making music that is authentic and true to you. I know there's a masterclass later on about the artistry side of artist development, so quite sure that they can lean into more of that. But in regards to what is currently out in the marketplace, don't watch what's out there, because if like having worked at SoundCloud, I realized that there's so many different sounds, there's so many different genres, but there's an audience for it all. So it doesn't matter if like I've heard songs like raw, like wow, this sounds crazy, as in bad crazy, but there's an audience for it. I'm not saying your music is that, but it's just more so reflective of there's an audience for all different styles of music. Hope that answers your question. You look a bit concerned or worried that like
because as producers, for example, when it comes down to the production of the actual sound, I'm not necessarily talking about the style of music, but when it comes down to the production, if surely we're all competing to try to like get that kind of very polished sound, because we know that that's what helps with the sale of the song, and also helps to get it on the radio or get it on the television or something.
No, not really, not anymore. And not to shut you down, but I'm just like thinking, like when I hear some of the songs that have charted, that get radio play, so on and so forth, like I've curated so many different playlists. I've worked with curators, editors, so on and so forth, and like no one's saying, it's not mixed or mastered the same way as a Calvin Harris rhythm. Like, the rhythm's cold, and like, okay, we're gonna support it. So I can understand the desire or the mindset that like, you know what, like I want my production to sound as clean etc. as a David Guetta and the people at the top, but like I just don't now, like right now, like from what I've seen the artists I've engaged with, I don't think there's a lot of credence to that. People are just cracking on and like they're vibing, they're having a good time and just getting the music out. And there's great feedback, there's great response, especially because like there's a new excitement, a newfound excitement around music that's especially coming like from the underground or more authentic, truer to the specific genres. Whether that like I was sat down with certain EDM producers and there's a term that they use for the heads. They know they got like the songs that is alright, cool, might go radio, what have you. But in D&B, in so many different bass genres, like it is like it has to be authentic and true to that audience. You can't just cut you on some, yeah, it's got to sound like ghetto vibes. Hopefully, like we can get more into it. I'm enjoying this. More questions, please.
But like with the internet, I think there might have been a time where it needed to sound like the next person's, like David Guetta, for example, because the internet wasn't as open. Let's say, I think barriers have been broken down to where it don't even matter about the next man now. You just cultivate your sound and you'll build your people with that.
You should swap places. You just know, but you just like that is another super important. I'm glad that you brought it up because to that point, and something I wrote down in this slide, this deck, but as pointers. But you've got to utilize like the technology that's available to you, like now, like especially like with social media. Cool, and I'm quite sure everyone's a lot of people are like, I'm not really feeling TikTok. I don't want to do this TikTok thing. I don't want to do dances. But when you've mentioned EDM, like there are so many like it's so funny. I've probably sat down like the genres I lean probably more to are like rap, R&B, Afro beats. But I've sat down with so many dance, drum and bass, like just electronic music DJs, producers, and I just seeing how they've grown their audience. They've utilized tech in such a savvy way. There's a group called Bless. The artist called Bless, and I think they're signed to Atlantic. But even before that, they were signed. And there's like Boo, who's in D&B. Like they like will put out a track on SoundCloud, and like say Bless for example, they would go and DM every single person who might have listened to the song and like here's something I'm working on. Have a listen. Let me know what you think. Or even go to fans of similar artists, and if they've liked the track, someone else's track, or commented, they go into them like, like I think you might like this. I've got this song out. I think you might like it as well. So reaching out to like doing like that real like groundwork to like build that core audience of fans who are gonna like the similar kind of music, as well as doing things on like TikTok and Instagram where like you're sharing like teasing snippets on reels. If that's the teasers and the snippets are like super key because that builds momentum ahead of like the official release. These are just like certain like tips and tricks in this like newfound what artist development is in like from the marketing side of things. I'm not going to speak on the artistry, what you need to do to improve your sound, so on and so forth. This like that will be spoken on later on, but more so from like getting it out there. Those things are like key. Go on, brother.
So I don't know if it's a bit naive in this or anything, but is there any platforms that exist for people to essentially select like genres that they're interested in, or have like comparable bands, and then have sort of very new artists with that following, sort of have that connected to those people? So you know how you were saying about people sort of wanting to be the first to hear someone or have this sort of thing that no one's really ever heard before and be like a fan of that. Is there anything that sort of connects those two? So obviously on one side you've got the artists that are new that want to release stuff that's not essentially too polished and it's just going out to the world for the first time, and you do have these people that are interested in finding that stuff. Is with the existing platforms where so obviously you've got SoundCloud and stuff, but is there anything that sort of pushes that together a bit more? Because I think visibility is a very difficult thing.
It's Discover Weekly and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so like this is like you lot helping me doing my job for me, because now we can go into like the DSP side of things. In regards to like explicitly to your question, I don't recall. I'm not really too familiar with any platforms that are explicitly like that have notoriety, that are like popular, that are super explicit on, okay, you're a brand new artist who's probably not released anything, and this is my first ever release kind of thing, and I want to plug it into the matrix. But there are these fans of who always want to hear brand new music. Unfortunately, like that right now. Pardon my French. So there are platforms like, I don't want it to be like no SoundCloud adding it, but like SoundCloud, they have this feature which is called like first fans. So like where if you've got to be on Nextpro, but essentially like if you've uploaded like your first song, what have you, it feeds into, for lack of a better term, like algorithm. It notices that like it's your first upload, things of that nature, and it helps you get like your first 100 listens, first 1,000 listens kind of thing. And then once it's in, then that can build organically. But it's not like, it would be great if there was something where you could even like tick a box like, this is my first ever release. These are kind of like audience I want to reach out to. We have to also understand like, what are you going into this, like just artists in general, what are you trying to achieve? Because like some want to be like the biggest artist in the world. Great. Some just want like, you know what? I make some music. I make music. I'm not looking to have a full-time career out of it, but I just want some people to hear it and enjoy it, and I might play a gig here and there kind of thing. That fills my boots. I'm happy with that. Like, and there are generally a lot of people in the world who are like that. I think sometimes, obviously, like we often look at the biggest artists in the world and how do we achieve that. But in this music industry, like if you're able to make a few quid out of this thing, like you're doing really well. You're probably doing better than 98% of people if you're able to make like. And I know there's people who talk on like making money out of music later on, but in regards to you and your like, whether it's like you want to build a platform, what have you, but if you make music and you want some people to hear it, you can use like a DistroKid and just like put it out. And just like the overthinking thing, I hear it, but like I sit with something like over like 1 year will go by, 2 years will go by, 3 years. There are many people who think like who say to some degree like overthink releasing music. How I approach it, and I'm not an artist, but like I always say like, you've got to put it out, because this thing is it's art, it's fun, it's a gift to you that you should share. Sometimes just holding it, like, because you're overthinking about like marketing strategies on your position in the music. There's like, I can't remember the total addressable audience in music in the world. With the best respect, like no one cares. So just release a thing and then go on with it, and then there's like people like find your audience. I think that's the yeah.
You know that first times feature on SoundCloud?
Yeah.
Is that pro?
Yeah.
How many releases would you say like typically someone could do or would do before it starts sort of building traction?
That's how long is a piece of string or how short is it? Yeah, it's a magic question. Because obviously, like actually, but it's interesting. Like obviously, this, and she's probably an artist that doesn't relate to anyone in this room. But I saw something. Was it 2 days ago? In regards to Sabrina Carpenter, that she's nominated for Best Newcomer at the Grammys, what have you. She's put out 6 albums. She's been releasing music for 8 years, 6 albums, and she's now like Best Newcomer. Like I remember, was it 2 years ago, where like the Brits said like they had Little Sims as like Best Newcomer. I was like, you lot are bugging. Like, what are you chatting about? Little Sims from like we've known from one day, like from a long time, and like, oh, so with that to your point about like to start gaining traction, which comes to also my earlier point of like, you got to define what your objectives are. What does traction look like to you? Is it like, because some people like think they got motion with 100 plays or 1,000 plays. If you're trying to get like 100,000, 200,000, I'll say like they're actively releasing, and then that will build like. Also another good thing is like, I feel like I'm moving away from just pure artist development conversation, just go on for it's facts. But like, also, if you're releasing music, like, one of the key good things about just releasing music as an independent is you've got that's your catalog. And let's say something pops one day, and then now there's all this interest from other partners, from distributors or labels, what have you. You could have 20, 30 songs that's in your catalog that is gonna, cause you got that one song that's moving, people are gonna start checking your other bits and pieces, and then your partners are gonna be like, oh, okay, like we wanna partner with you, here's a bit of money, we wanna include your catalog in this conversation. Now, cause your catalog, cause you're independent, you own that. Now you can have a nice lucrative conversation with that because you've got some catalog that's doing some bits and pieces. When it comes to transactions, it's purely numbers, you know. Like I've spoken and sat with a lot of people where they ain't listen to a single bar, they ain't listen to a beat. They just look at these numbers and then put it into a calculator. So to your point about like what style of music you might have made before or now, like it's just like, all right, cool. How can we exploit this? And you can exploit it like if it's doing business, regardless of what it sounds like. Like it's just like, so dope. And also like the Black Eyed Peas, like there is a conversation to be had, maybe not now, around like what artists and what the business looked like pre-streaming and like all that kind of like, that's probably a different time. But now, trust me, if you had like 20 rap songs, then all of a sudden, and they were doing all right, then you go and start doing like electronic music, and the numbers still looking decent. If you go and sit with Ditto or Believe or Label, whoever, like, okay, like your catalog's doing good numbers. We want to roll it in because for them, exploitation means like, okay, how can we make money off this?
Yes.
So, or if it's making money, like that's no longer going down to your pocket, it's going into our pocket. So, yeah.
Would you say like releasing sort of different genres as an artist would be like detrimental? So say, for example, you've got one song that's R&B, one song that's rock, and this, that, and the other. Like obviously you were saying like, you know, they went to EDM, but they like R&B and that. Would you say like when you're sort of like building up, experimenting with like different singles being different genres, would that be like sort of kind of like hindering your build up, or would you just say just go for it? So.
I think right now, yeah, I almost feel like we're in the Wild West. There's no rules, like because let's say if you're there's no rules for independent artists. If you're signed to a major label kind of thing, like they probably invested into a certain vision, a certain aesthetic, certain sound, so on and so forth. So to like start breaking those shackles is a touch more difficult. But I have seen some artists like who have, it's out of some like blue sky thing, some larger plan. They've done rap, they've done dance, they've done some indie, but with a view to like train their audience that I'm not any one specific genre. So that when album time comes, or like when the body of work comes, it's like, oh, it's across a plethora of genres kind of thing, because they've trained their audience into this is what you expect from me kind of thing. There's some artists like, let's say UK R&B, there's some artists like, there's an artist called like Odile. He does like, he's on like his biggest song is an Afro song, Afro sounding song, but he's just released a song, an EP yesterday, and Summer Walker's on it kind of thing. It's true R&B, all that kind of stuff. But he would never, like I was talking to someone in his team and he wouldn't call himself a UK R&B artist because he wants to like be able to make different styles of music. SZA, for her album SOS, she got indie joints on there, like then she got like R&B joints, like so. Krept and Conan were talking about this on the interview. Was it on Kiss? Well, they've dabbled with so many different like exactly. They've different genres, so that like you expect different things from. They expect different things from them as an artist. So back to your question, I don't think I don't think it will. There was a hinder. Yeah, you use a smart word. Yeah, I don't think it's going to hinder your progress. I actually think like, and also like, if you're good and inclined to make other genres, enjoy it. Kind of thing. I have a personal opinion around like, I think we should all be making some elements of like dance music. even if you're do rap, do R&B, because in the United Kingdom, like dance or bass music, electronic music has been the linchpin of our identity, our musical identity. So especially in this country, I think like, yeah, man, have them elements. Even if you do rap, like find a way to like, yeah, me, yeah. More questions. I'm enjoying this.
You know, you mentioned earlier about putting the groundwork in and building that organic following. I feel like a lot of up-and-coming artists, they want that viral hit, they want that viral video to make them get some overnight success. But in your experience, you know, what is going to be better, like longevity-wise? Would it be building that small community, organic, then growing, or I'm putting out stuff, I need to get that viral hit, I need overnight success, and then I can build on that?
You can't control virality. If you like, there's nothing you could like. You can plug away at the algorithm. Some call it the matrix. You can plug away and keep feeding it to build and hope for like something virality to happen, but you can't control it. So what you can control is building a community and growing that brick by brick. I've mentioned what Bless did. That there's others who like do things like, whether it's like building that broadcast channel, building that mailing list. I think like no matter what other kind of tech is out there, what kind of different platforms there are, like mailing lists are fundamental. There's like from the beginning of this thing, well, digital age, that's something that's always going to be tried and tested. So I would like focus on building that small community and growing it. And one of the key things about growing a community is not from outside in. You have to actually be a part of it. You have to actually engage. So let's say, for example, keep using SoundCloud, it's an easy one, but someone you put out a song kind of thing, be in the comments, reply to people, even if you've got your own, like, let's say lingo, use that lingo in, like, when replying to people, because like that could even grow, like, people, like your fans now start using that lingo. Let's say, for example, Cash Cobain and them, like, in New York, Slizzy, they use that. That's their language now. All of a sudden, everyone who associates with sexy drill and starts using that language. You feel me? But it's part of that, like, because they in that community, they're part of it, and it's grown. So that's what I say is a key element about growing community, or just like but just being a part of it. You can't. Authenticity is key in regards to like all of this, because like a huge part of artist development is like developing your identity, like what your narrative is, even when it comes down to like the aesthetic, colors, or language, all that kind of stuff. Like has to like be very as intentional about it as possible. Some people may like look very organic, but the thing that looks probably the most organic has probably the most amount of work in it. Let's say someone like Fred again, it looks very, it looks very. I've just decided this morning. I've just decided this morning that I'm going to hire out an arena and I'm going to do a show there. Like, fundamentally, logistically, that's come on. But how it's been presented is, and how he engages with his audience. He's got someone who's got he's grown this really core, but great audience from when he was doing things like, and this is some stuff is like, growing an audience might not even also always be music specific. He used to like say, I'm going for a bike ride in London, and like, yo, link up, we're all going for a bike ride, and people feel like, yo, like they're part of like Fred's world. We can like even kind of segue into like music. We're here, we love music, we want to make money from music, so on and so forth, which is great. But also you have to, in my opinion, this day and age, also be aware of other revenue streams. There are, Jessie Ware's got a podcast, I think she's with her mum, she talks about music and other bits and pieces. Like, there are other, in this day and age, there's other ways to also express yourself, to find and to invite people into like your universe. I think that's a good way of sometimes looking at it, like your universe. Music is but like as you grow, like, but obviously this is a more like developed conversation outside before you, like obviously the fundamental was like you want to build that audience. Oh, so I'll just pre the time. This has been a good conversation. All right, cool. So I've written here how to attract fans. So consistency is key. Make it a habit to post regularly across social media platforms. Engagement is essential, as I spoke about. Like whether it's like replying to comments, things of that nature. Interact with your fans by responding to their comments. Even like you see, even like when someone's on like Instagram and they put like a poll up or something, all these things they might look to the naked eye might look like, oh, this is someone just doing whatever. But these are like engagement tactics, not even research, just engagement. Like fans feeling like they're part of, like they have an opportunity to engage with you. You're taking in their opinion. Collaboration with other artists is key as well. Like not only like from the artistic and the musical standpoint, also tapping into their audiences, things of that nature, and also like from a iron sharpens iron. Like go on to like different, like if you're a DJ, like go on radio sets and go out clubbing, like DJing out in public. That helps you grow. I spoke about identity. Your personal story is powerful. Share it to create an emotional connection with your fans. In this day and age, like it's very, very difficult for artists to just to have longevity without like fans knowing anything about you, being able to buy into you is a bit dead. I've spoken.
Ray, did you see the documentary? Not documentary, it's a performance with Ray.
Yeah.
And she was on telly, and she was at the Royal Albert Hall, and she was saying a lot of very personal things, and it's like the audience were, seemed to be getting closer to.
That's what Ray's been doing since when she started talking about her issues with the label. So transparency is what has brought people into Ray, like her album Transparent, when she's talking about some of the personal issues and so on and so forth. That is her identity. Now when it comes to releasing music, planning is like crucial. Make sure you create a timeline starting 6 to 8 weeks out ahead of your release to build anticipation. Utilize teasers, behind the scenes content. And so behind the scenes content could even be like making of the music in the studio, so sharing those bits and pieces on socials, because you like we engage the audience, and that stuff is shareable, and then other people could see it, and then like could be tapped into what you're trying to do.
How long do you leave it between you release singles?
How long? So this is key. So if it's for single, so I'm more so like probably a stickler for the language. So if it's a single, as in like it's something that you want to put emphasis around, and you want to do a video, so on and so forth, I would say, you want to work it like 4 to 6 weeks, I would say, because you want to like put energy around that single, add so on and so forth. But if you're in, let's say, just churning out songs, then it could be like you could put out 2 a month. There's a difference between like, because some artists might, let's say, I'm gonna do a single, then I'm just gonna do like this edit or just something. I'm just gonna put this song out, which I'm not gonna put resource money behind, so on and so forth. But it's just I'm growing my catalog. Make sure you monitor the analytics, whether you're Spotify for artists, Apple for artists, Amazon for artists, like your Instagram insights, so on and so forth. Monitor these analytics to understand fan engagement, which is going to help you for future release strategies. 1 minute, I was actually going to speak on a quick run through of a campaign I just recently did for artists I manage. So I manage a singer called Ray Black. She's newly independent, but this campaign was focused on revitalizing, like rebuilding her music career. So the strategy was we're going to do this via an EP release. So and it was like we had 2 singles going into the EP. Fan engagement was a huge part of it. We had a video. We shot 2 videos in one day. So that's another thing. Like, see, this is marketing, but like how you can stretch your resources, stretch your budget. So we shot 2 videos in one day, but we did a call out on Instagram and via her mailing list to invite a few fans down to the shoot fans get excited. Oh my goodness, don't really experience this. Get to meet her, have a conversation, so on and so forth. They also got to feature like as extras in the video. So this fan engagement, building your core audience, like gets them like really engaged. We also did another fan activation, a self-defense class, because the content of the EP was around like was like women empowerment, so on and so forth. Not to get too deep into it, but like, so we did a self-defense class. We partnered with Gymshark, but that's by the by. Like you can do that with like your local gym, shit like that, just for using the resources around you. But that was the content of the EP. How are we going to engage with fans with this self-defense class? So a huge thing was reintroducing her to this reintroducing her back with new music, but fan engagement and in real life is key to this.
Such a creative idea, like.
We tried. We had some.
It is the Wild West. Any idea what represents the brand, the artist? That's cool.
Exactly. So it's like we're not thinking about the big stuff. It's more so like who. It's more sometimes rewarding the people that are there with you, that have been there, kind of thing. But so the outcome of this, as well as like press and radio and so on and so forth. But we got great support by like the DSPs but this was the awareness phase. So that's another thing, like when you're strategizing on like artist development, it's like sometimes I work in like breaking phases out. So we've spoken about like building awareness and fan building, what have you. There's the other side is which we're going to go in phase 2 with Ray, is like revenue generation. So it's like we could put this EP out on like Bandcamp, and even if it goes for £3 per EP, that is, I ain't gonna do the maths, but like even like how many streams you got to do to make £3 on Spotify? You see what I'm saying? So, but last question, go on. Oh, Ditto's a distributor. Oh, Bandcamp is like, yeah. No. Ditto's a digital distributor. Distribution. Yeah, like DistroKid. They have label services, but they also have like a at scale, which you could just buy like I think it's like a membership or whatever. No, SoundCloud is like SoundCloud is. The reason I'm laughing because there was language that was used about SoundCloud. They're trying to change. SoundCloud is regarded as a DSP, like a Spotify, Amazon, so on and so, Apple, Amazon, Deezer. Whatchamacallit? Ditto is like TuneCore, DistroKid. Yeah, right. CD baby, I ain't heard of that in a minute. Yeah, but I've just realised that I've run over 3 minutes, run over my time. This has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you people.